Hey everyone, I'm Adrian and welcome to the Weekend Recap, aka trying to make sense of VAR calls and making people mad. Here's my Weekend Recap. By the way, follow me on Insta if you want more karaoke greatness. The Weekend Recap and One Football. Name a more iconic duo. One Football provides you with everything you need to be a well-informed football fan thanks to their app, live scores, breaking news faster than anyone else from the competitions, teams, and players you care about thanks to their customizable newsfeed, plus live match tickers, highlights, and more. Download on iOS or Android by using the free link in the description. Merci beaucoup, on continue. Spurs vs Sheffield at Tottenham Stadium, and not great from Spurs this time. Sheffield smashed one off the post in the first half, defense at 6s and 7s there for Spurs, but in the second, it was Tottenham who took the lead, sort of against the run of play, or at least came from nothing really. Sheffield, I thought, were the better team across the balance of this match. And when Sheffield found their equalizer, it was called back for this, the most minute of minute offside calls from VAR strikes again. I hate this. I miss the days when the advantage goes to the attacker. Mind you, those were the days when you needed some daylight between the attacker and the defender for it to be called offside. Now, all you need is a skin cell to be ahead of the other, and it's an offside call. Thankfully for Sheffield's fans, they got their due justice, and Eric Dyer directed a cross past Gaza. Own goal, 1-1 the final there. Another Chelsea match and another solid performance from the team. Pulisic almost scored an incredible goal in the first half, and if it hadn't been for Guaita, perhaps Chelsea would have had a first half lead from Pulisic or Willian. The keeper played well on this one. Willian's flick through ball for Tammy Abraham provided the breakthrough. That was Abraham's 10th of the season from 12 appearances. With 2 assists, that's a goal contribution of 12 in 12. Great season for him so far. Later, Pulisic killed the match in the 79th minute with a goal of his own. In fact, he should have had one earlier, but Guaita saved well again. But anyway, sorry, distractions. Pulisic got on the end of a deflected strike to head past Guaita, 2-0 for Chelsea, and 5 goals in 3 matches for Pulisic. Killer. Manchester United got a good win at home against Brighton, a team that hasn't been the easiest to navigate for some. Rashford scored again. Good for him. He's notched 5 in his last 5 matches now. 3-1. United fans will be happy with the result, but it's crazy. It's so crazy that a team of United stature gets praise for getting a 3-1 win over Brighton, you know? This should be a regular thing for him, but it's an illustration of where the club's at right now. Oh, and it's nice to see Martial back in the squad. He's really improved their attack. Marco Silva continues to stay alive as Everton squeaked a 2-1 win away to Southampton. Convincing? No, but a win is a win, and that's 2 matches in a row that Everton have avoided losing, which is a positive for them. Arsenal versus Leicester? Whew. It's Emery out season, man. I really thought this man was going to be a good signing for Arsenal, but the more that time goes on, the more confounding his 3 Europa League titles in a row seem. You have to wonder with how he sets up his team and their tactics and how he fails to get them G'd up. How did this man win 3 Europa League titles in a row? I'm not sure. Maybe it's the Spanish thing. It was easier for him to communicate with his players in Spain, but it seems like that's a bit of an easy cop-out answer at this time. Arsenal were just poor once again, going away to the King Power Stadium to take on the Brage, and the Brage was victorious. Goals from Vardy and Maddison in the second half gave the Foxes the win. Also, that goal from Vardy puts him at the top of the scoring standings with 11 from 12 matches. The guy loves to score against Arsenal. And at every top 6 side, really. Arsenal, more hurt for them. They're terrible in the moment, and Emery looks like a man who's panicking because he doesn't know how to get more from the squad and get them out of this hole. Unfortunately for him, I think the only way to get most out of the squad and to get them out of this hole is to bring in a new manager. Wanger in! City versus Liverpool, the most entertaining matchup in the Prem in the last couple of seasons. Let's pick it up from Fabinho's great goal, a brilliant smash from outside the box. Of course, the controversy for the goal came right before it. Here we go. Time to divide opinions. So the first handball is a bit of a weird one. Before VAR, I'd say it shouldn't have been a penalty. But then VAR has really twisted what constitutes a handball. And to be honest, we have seen some handballs given for this kind of thing in the past. It came off of Bernardo's arm before touching Alexander-Arnold's, and had City scored from that play, it would have been called off as per the new handball rules regarding the attackers. Now, had the referee given a penalty, would he have called it off for the same sort of thing after seeing Bernardo's handball? I'm fairly certain he would have. Ultimately, I was okay with this particular incident being let go and Fabinho's goal standing. Okay, so while I was editing, this is editor Adrian now, by the way, I also found this, which could provide some explanation as to why the referee didn't call for a handball against Trent Alexander-Arnold. So on the Premier League's website, in regards to handball rules, they have a section on deflection. So let's just read through that quickly. Premier League players will be allowed extra leeway when it comes to ricocheted handballs. It is often impossible to avoid contact with the ball if it has deflected off of the body of an opponent, teammate, or even another part of the own player. So, a handball will not be awarded if the ball touches a player's hand, arm directly from their own head, body, foot, or the head, body, foot of another player who was close nearby. So I guess that was the referee's reasoning, considering it took a couple of touches before it got to Trent Alexander-Arnold's arm. I think we're going to have more to discuss in a second, but I think the biggest, most frustrating thing about VAR is that it was supposed to cut out these inconsistencies, and in the Premier League, it just creates more somehow. It's gone in the opposite direction. I mean, I've seen VAR implemented fairly well in Portugal for the most part, I guess. Pretty well in the Eredivisie, pretty well in the Liga. The Serie A, it's good. I mean, I don't know why they're struggling so much in the Premier League. Moving on. What a ball from Alexander-Arnold to set Liverpool on their way to their second goal. Diagonal ball on his weaker foot to his other fullback, Andy Robertson. Robertson's ball over to Salah. Well, he put it on a plate for him to just direct it past Bravo. There was a question of offside for a moment, but that was cleared up pretty quickly, as you can see here. Now, one thing I did notice was how, at times, Liverpool looked to be there for the taking from set-piece situations. As I said in Thursday's video, their defending from set pieces has been a little poor at times lately, and had City been better in these moments, they could have, and perhaps should have, punished them for it. But in the second half, Mane turned in Henderson's cross, setting up a beautiful alley-oop with Bravo, who slapped it into the side netting. 3-1 Liverpool at this point, but City came into the match much later. Bernardo scored, great strike, arrowed into the corner, and you felt like if City could get another quick one, then they could possibly get a third as well. Now, here we go again. 3 minutes after scoring, another Trent Alexander-Arnold handball shout, and you've seen penalties given for this as well. This one was more of a penalty for me than the first one, but I guess mostly in the VAR era. Without VAR, this would be seen as extremely harsh, given that his arms are directly by his sides, natural silhouette sort of, and it's struck against him from about 2 feet away. So remember guys, the rule about it being a handball, no matter what position the arm is in, natural silhouette or not, only applies to attacking players. There's still room for interpretation when it comes to the defenders, which is very mind-boggling and as my guy, the Codfather, said on Twitter, that was an NBA game. So, 3-1 the final, big win for Liverpool, but I do think people should proceed with caution when saying that Liverpool has won the title already. Is it foolish to call off a title race on November 10th? Yes. Do Liverpool look the most likely to be lifting the Premier League trophy in May? Absolutely. Did Liverpool have a 7-point lead at one point last season only to squander it to City? They did indeed. Do City look weaker than last season while Liverpool look a bit stronger? Also, yes, I think I'd say so. Their defending doesn't seem as good as last season, but even so, it's one of the best in the league. Do City have to be near perfect for the rest of the season in order to have a chance? Absolutely they do. And with the way they're playing and how poor their defense has looked, and with the injury problems that they have in defense, they have a ton of them, it doesn't seem likely. That loss of company seems huge now. So, let's look at the table now. City dropped behind Liverpool by 9 points. In fact, Chelsea and Leicester are a point ahead of them, and Sheffield United continues to mix it up with the big boys in 5th. Now, Spurs dropped down to 14th with just 14 points from 12 matches. Big yikes there. They're behind Steve Bruce's Newcastle. Oh my god, that was a lot to talk about in the Premier League. It was a crazy weekend. And the Bundesliga even boasted Der Klassiker this weekend, man. It was a big weekend. Bayern versus Dortmund. And this match was no different from their previous Bundesliga meetings at the Allianz Arena. Bayern smashing Dortmund 4-0 on this occasion. And again, fitting the same billing as per usual, Lewandowski scored against his former team twice. 16 goals in 11 matches. With Boateng, Sula, and Hernandez all unavailable, Bayern's backline of Pavard, Javi Martinez, David Alaba as a CB, and Alphonso Davies on the left absolutely stymied Dortmund. They didn't get a single strike on target from only 2 attempts in the entire match. Absolute domination from Bayern, and impressive how much Davies has relished the opportunity at left back, a position that for me is his second best. Just turned 19 and he had Sancho, Hazard, and Hakimi all in his pocket. Mats Hummel's OG had to be the icing on the cake for Bayern fans, 4-0 the final, but would it be enough to put Bayern at the top of the table? Well, no, actually, as the top 5 teams at the end of this particular round had all won. Freiburg's dream start continues as they won a hot-blooded affair against Eintracht Frankfurt 1-0. Frankfurt did win as far as red cards go, with 2 to Freiburg's 1. The red card that Abraham got was pretty despicable though, to be honest, as he shoulder barged Christian Streich and flattened the 54-year-old Freiburg manager. Well-deserved red. RB Leipzig beat Hertha Berlin 4-2 away. That's a big win for them. And a couple more goals and an assist for Timo Werner, as well as one more for your favorite player, Marcel Sabitzer. Welcome to Marcel Sabitzer TV, everybody. I'm your host, Adrian. Hoffenheim made it 5 wins from 5 with a 2-1 victory away to FC Köln. One of the latest winners you'll see scored in the Bundesliga this season. Perhaps the latest, as Jürgen Lokadia's 98th minute penalty gave Hoffenheim the away win. Real ones remember Jürgen Lokadia from my old career mode, from my ancient channel that no longer exists when I was the manager of Southampton. Oh, and of course, on Sunday, Borussia Mönchengladbach made it 3 wins on the trot with their 3-1 victory against Werder Bremen. This could have gone differently, as at 2-0, Mönchengladbach had their keeper save a Werder Bremen penalty, and just 6 minutes later, they made it 3-0. So, Mönchengladbach and Marco Rose roll on, and with 25 points, they have a 4-point lead over Freiburg, Bayern, and Leipzig. Taking a look at their fixtures, they play Union Berlin next, and then 2 mouth-watering clashes against Freiburg and Bayern Munich, both of which are at home. A chance to really put some distance between themselves and the chasing pack. They play Leipzig only in February. Okay, let's hit La Liga now, and credit to Atletico Madrid, man. We criticize teams when they deserve to be criticized, but we give them props when they deserve props. And they looked great against Espanyol at the Wanda Metropolitano, winning 3-1. They trailed 1-0 before the half, then Correa, Morata, and Koke secured the bag. By the way, they now have as many wins as they do draws, 6 apiece, so Simeone's going to have to work on it if he wants to be the first team to win La Liga with more draws than wins. Leo Messi was once again the difference for Barcelona, as well as the number 1 man who has saved Ernesto Valverde from the sack. A Messi hat-trick, his 34th in La Liga, which brings him level with Cristiano Ronaldo for the record, and 2 of those goals were from direct free kicks. Undisputed number 1 free kick taker in the world over the last couple of seasons, and Barcelona get the 4-1 victory over Celta, who recently sacked their manager. Future champions Real Sociedad were held to a 1-1 draw against Leganés, 20th placed Leganés. That ain't title-winning form, my guy, but they're still in the mix, as you'll soon see. Hey, Real Madrid, they deserve some props too. Yes, a team of their stature should be beating Eibar every damn day of the week, but that hasn't held Real Madrid back from stumbling against teams like this in the recent past, so credit to them for smacking 4 past Eibar at the Ipurua Municipal Stadium. Ipurua. Benzema with a brace, he's on track to have another great season, just like the last, as he's now scored 9 in La Liga, 5 goals and 3 assists in his last 4 matches across all competitions. Valencia are getting better and better. Sacking Marcelinho, it wasn't as big of a mistake as we'd all thought, as Albert Celades has them just 5 points off at the top, and in good standing within the Champions League as well. And finally, with Sevilla defeating Betis 2-1 in the Seville derby, El Gran Derby, they move up to 4th in the table, while Barcelona and Real Madrid, despite playing 1 less match than the rest of the pack, sit atop of La Liga with 25 points each. See? Sociedad is still in this thing. Let's go, champs! Okay, Serie A now, and I feel like I need to just accept that the weekend recap will be about 20 minutes long sometimes. Such is the reality this season. But anyways, marquee matchup was, of course, Milan traveling away to Juventus. Not my favorite match to take in. I was sort of flipping between this and the MLS Cup final, which, by the way, congratulations to the Sounders on a very competent victory over a Toronto team that was probably just happy and a little bit surprised to make the final after their weird season. No more Seattle-Toronto finals for a while though, please. 3 in the last 4 years, I'm done. Anyways, at one point when Ronaldo was subbed off, it seemed as though he angrily stormed down the tunnel. That's what me and many others thought at first. Yo, editor Adrian again. So I've looked into the Ronaldo situation more and more because I've sort of gone back and forth. It looked like he asked to be subbed, and then it looked like he just angrily went down the tunnel as I had initially suspected. But I think that the truth is somewhere in between. So Sarri said after the match, "We must thank Ronaldo because he made a sacrifice to be there at all tonight in a difficult situation. He did everything possible to play, but I saw he was not well and thought it best to take him off." So yes, he is nursing an injury. No, I don't think that he asked to be subbed off, but Sarri took it upon himself to take him off anyway because he saw that he was struggling and he has that knee injury that they don't want to make even worse. Going further, he said, "It's only natural a player is going to be irritated to leave the pitch, especially when he works so hard to be there. Over the last month, he has had this little knee problem. He had a knock in training and it hurt the collateral ligament. When he trains at high intensity or plays, it unbalances him. So he ends up overcompensating and it damages the calf and thigh muscles. It is affecting his performances and he is not at his best at the moment. All players who are trying to give their best will have at least 5 minutes of being annoyed when they are substituted, but a coach would in general be much more worried if he didn't seem upset." So, there you go. Case closed. Thankfully for Juve, his replacement Paulo Dybala was the difference with another well-taken goal for him, his third of the season in the Serie A, as he's making last summer's efforts to ship him out look sillier and sillier. This team needs him. Milan had moments in this match, definitely not their worst performance of the season, but the reality is that they're still in 14th place with just one win in their last 5 matches. 13 points after 12 rounds of the Serie A. They have Napoli up next, and I could actually see them getting a point there. And then Parma, which is a weird team. Speaking of which, Napoli are now winless in 4 matches after their 0-0 draw with Genoa. In fact, across all competitions, they're winless in 5. All is not right there at the moment. Inter came from 1 goal down at home against Hellas Verona to win 2-1. Deserved win, even if they labored to score. Hellas Verona got absolutely artillery struck. Shelled in this one. 38 strikes towards goal by Inter, 18 of which were blocked and 9 were saved by Silvestri in the Verona goal. It was wild for him in there. Vecino equalized in the 65th minute for Inter, then Barella scored in the 83rd to win the match for Inter. Speaking of Parma from before, they hosted Roma this weekend and defeated them 2-0. A little bit surprised by that as Roma had won 3 on the bounce, but Parma are a very difficult team to get a read on. As I said, they're weird, man. Atalanta were held to a draw, meaning Cagliari's absolutely massive 5-2 victory over Fiorentina puts them level on points with Lazio on 24. Lazio, for their part, got a 4-2 victory over Lecce. Another goal for Ciro is 14th and 12. Atalanta and Roma drop. Napoli are 13 points off of first, and that is not a good look for them. Bonus League. As promised last week, let's quickly go through Liga NOS action just to finish things off here. Give you the update, check in on your favorite teams. SL Benfica looked far from convincing against Santa Clara again. The boys from my dad's island of San Miguel. This performance had me crying in the club, man. We need a right back so badly, and instead our president provides us with a Benfica Netflix program. We get Benflix instead of a right back, but I mean, at least we got the result. 2-1 away with goals from Vinicius and Pizzi, but man, I haven't been excited about a Benfica performance since about August, I feel like. Like I said, we're getting results, which is great, and I'm happy about that, but I missed the second half of last season so much, man. FC Porto won their derby match against Boavista 1-0. Again, not the greatest match to watch for either team, as Azate brought to my attention. Porto didn't have a shot on target in the second half, while Boavista didn't have a shot on target in the first half. And both teams only had 1 shot on target in total. No, Zé Luis's shot off the post at the end of the second half doesn't technically count as a shot on target. Sporting hosted another Lisbon side in Belenenses. Perhaps not the most convincing victory for them either, but 2 goals in 7 minutes towards the end of the second half got them the victory. A brace from Luciano Vietto. Hey man, that's 4 wins in 5 from Sporting, signs of improvement there. Famalicão were held to a draw again, their second in a row now, in a wild 3-3 match. And Braga showed some signs of life as they defeated Vitória in the Minho derby. That's a big result for them. 2-0 victory there, they're only 1 point behind their rivals and 5 points off of the top 4. So looking at the table, it's as you were at the top. Benfica on 30 points with Porto just behind them. Sporting are slowly but surely creeping up on Famalicão as well. Okay, folks, that's all for me today. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you later this week for more videos here from the Video Farm. Ciao.